This is Trucks and Tractor Power, and today from Florida Sports Park in Naples, we bring you the Gator NTPA Nationals. The semis make their debut on Trucks and Tractor Power. This represents the newest division in NTPA pulling. You'll see manufacturers like Kenworth, International, Mack, Peterbilt. Under the hood, Cummins and Detroit Diesel. Now, this is a 1995 Kenworth from METZGER & Sons Trucking out of Silver Lake, Indiana. This is the rig that goes down the highway, and right over here is their puller, a 1976 International. It is stock appearing. However, there's no CB in there and no logbook. Here with more on this pulling division is Army Armstrong.
Gary, what you're looking at is a Cummins diesel block, over 1,100 cubic inches. It's in the Super Trooper we're going to be watching today. And this particular engine, yes, did come out in this truck when it was manufactured, but you can't buy it in this truck anymore because it's only available in heavy equipment like you see in coal mines. One of the unique things about the engine is it runs a twin turbo. Now, keep in mind, a turbo's responsibility is to pump more air and more fuel into an engine. 25 pounds of boost is normal what you get on a road tractor, okay? This particular road tractor we're looking at this particular point, when it goes to the second turbo, has over 125 pounds of boost, 5 times that of a normal road tractor. Come on back here with me. I'm going to show you something else to prove to you that, yes, it does have a fifth wheel. There's a fifth wheel that normally pulls the weight. But in this case, the fifth wheel is hooked onto the main hook that'll be pulling the weight transfer sled. But something I really found interesting is the fact that even though these vehicles weigh 20,000 pounds, that's what the class minimum requirement is, they still have to hang weight on them. But where do they hang their weight? Someplace nobody else will hang their weight, on the very back of the vehicle. The reason is very simple. A road tractor makes a different kind of horsepower. You're not going to see a lot of wheel speed and zooming it out the other end. These guys make what they call torque horsepower, down around 3,000 and 4,000 RPM, kind of like an interior lineman on a football team. These are the guys that get down and get dirty. All they want to do is plant this tire in the track. They don't want to zoom it out the other end. They literally want to muscle it out the end. You know, I kind of like to look at these guys and figure what we're looking at here are the sumo wrestlers of pulling, because these are the heavyweights.
Well, Army, speaking of heavyweights, the sled will weigh about 42,500 pounds. A full pull here at Florida Sports Park, 300 feet. And before we get underway with the pulling competition, let's take a look at what it's like in the cockpit of one of these big rigs.
Hey, Gary, come over to Tornado. I want to take you inside Gator and Hoover's office and show you what it's all about. First of all, I want you to look at the floor. Yeah, you got 3 pedals, just like a tractor-trailer rig. Normally, this is the clutch. That's not the case now. This is the brake, the air brake that operates the rear drive wheel on the left side when the front end gets up. This particular brake, normal brake, operates the right drive wheel when the front end gets up. So you actually steer the vehicle with your foot. The gas pedal is in the same location as a normal gas pedal. You got a safety strap across that in case your foot may slide off. But I want you to come up on the dash and look at all these gauges. They run 2 tachometers so they can monitor this engine. The water temperature is so critical, they have 3 gauges for that. Also, there's an air pressure gauge that sits right on top of all the other gauges that monitors the B bottom of the engine and the T top of the engine. You can see those gauges. Then you come across and you see an automatic transmission shifter. Now, normally this truck comes with a straight shift, but that's not the case now. What they've done, they put an automatic Allison transmission in here, similar to the transmissions in the Greyhound bus, because they find that that'll hold the horsepower a lot better. Then you come on around to your right side. Again, you see all type of air pressure gauges, oil temperature gauges, and what have you. So air is so very important in this sport, because you got to remember, air makes horsepower. And this thing runs 4 turbochargers and 2 superchargers. That's enough horsepower to lift the Columbia, I believe. But what they let me do for explaining this to you, they're going to let me do something I've always wanted to do. I get to blow the horn.
And, of course, it's an air horn, Army.
That shows you were listening,
That's the only reason you did that, so you could blow that horn. Okay, we're ready for the competition. Now, the Lady Butterfly. Look at the grill on John Mann's vehicle. Mann driving the 1974 Kenworth with the Detroit Diesel. 2 turbos. This is the V12 diesel with 2 turbos.
A completely different kind of horsepower than we're used to seeing, a low torque horsepower. Watch the rear wheels, not 2 of them. He's got 8 of them. He's trying to get the horsepower of the ground. You notice how they're starting to bump a little bit, the butterfly on the front. Kind of like the iron butterfly, a little Inagata de Beers. Had 300 feet.
I knew it. Somehow you get that in there.
My favorite rock and roll song of all time, folks. Look at the black smoke. The crowd loves it.
Well, he's a little short. I don't think John Mann likes it. Couldn't pull it out of there at 293.07. So we'll take this break and come back with more from Naples. Welcome back to Trucks and Tractor Power here at Florida Sports Park in Naples for the Gator NTPA Nationals, a part of the Copenhagen Skull pulling circuit. And next to hook up will be Mike Friedline in his rig he calls Going Big Time.
He's out of Somerset, Pennsylvania. You know, it's amazing how this sport is growing. I was talking to Mike earlier, and he told me that he has over 40 dates this year and had to turn down a whole lot of them. He just can't go as many places as people want to see him. Again, look at the smoke. When it goes black, Gary, you know what's going to happen.
And this is a 1991 Marmon, the only Marmon we have here this afternoon.
I knew that.
I know you did.
No idea what a Marmon is either. Let's see what's going to happen. Keep an eye on the smoke. Again, the crowd really, hey, you're on board. Taking a ride.
This is the sled cam, and he is going to fall well short of what he needs. Look at the chatter in the rear axle.
He's digging a hole. I would not want to be the next guy in line trying to go down that path.
190.40. 190.40. So over 100 feet short of the full pull, but he certainly digs himself a ditch in the sand.
He did it well, and he messed up the track for the guy behind him. But you know, you get this far away from home, you got to go for it. Speaking of this far away from home, let me make it saying, if you got it, the truck brought it. That's what these guys will tell you. Look at all the stacks. It's just amazing the popularity these big rigs have, not with adults, but children too, Gary.
Yeah, but who has not seen a big rig going down the highway? Here he is from Alden, Minnesota. This is Ground Wolf. Norm Lawson, the 92 International Harvester.
1993 NTPA points champion, so this guy's got to be a player.
Yeah, he was third last year in points, nearly 20 years in the business. Let's see what he can do with the Ground Wolf.
Listen to the sound. The people love it. Well, those turbos are sucking some air. Look at that. Coming at you, Gary.
Good pull so far. Norm Lawson. Just, ever so. Did he pull it out? Yeah, he did.
All right.
He got it out of there. From this one angle, I could not tell, but certainly the sled now is in front of that marker. Yes, 300 feet, a full pull. Watch again.
Now you got two drive axles in the rear. Keep an eye on them. You notice neither one is acting that much different than the other one. He's kind of figured this thing out. He's got the ground speed. He's got the weight moving now, but the weight sled comes up on him, Gary.
Yeah, but he had the horsepower. He had the horsepower hooked up right there. He pulls it out. Yes, he gets it by there. Let's go trackside and talk to Norm Larson.
Well, Norma, my friend, you're showing it can be done, but how many guys behind it can do the same thing?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are pretty risky there. It could easily happen again. This is my track.
Pretty risky. That sounds like a good truck name.
We ought to have a truck, Gary, and you ought to drive it.
Pretty risky.
The biggest problem we'd have is what name we'd put on the truck.
All right, the hookup now for Mike Metzger in the Liberty Bell.
This truck at one time held the world's land speed record at the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yeah, there was like 160 something back in the mid-70s they traveled with this truck.
I don't know. It just came past me and went.
You were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
And it's Bonneville. I know you're going to make fun of the way I talk.
You're from Kentucky, though.
Can't help it. He went fast. That's the name of the game.
Well, this truck has also seen some oval track truck competition in places like Dover, Delaware, Rockingham, Phoenix. So this truck has certainly been around the block a few times.
Yeah, other than that, just an old truck like passing the highway. Look at the black smoke. Look at here. The crowd's watching. The crowd's going to get in, and he's making horsepower. He's taking it to the other end. 300 feet.
Take it out?
Yes.
Yes, he does. Mike Metzger. This is a father-son team. His son, Dan, will be out a bit later in competition. Mike takes it out for a full pull, so he will come back for more competition. And there's a look into the cockpit as we go down trackside and talk to Mike.
Mike, have you guys found a groove out there? The man in front of me goes through. You line up the same tracks. You're taking it out. Is that going to be the pattern for the rest of the day?
I think so. Hey, he got it out going down that track, so I thought if it worked for him, hopefully it'd work for me. And
You're going to see him in the pull-off. Good luck to you.
yeah, thank you.
Monkey see, monkey do.
And now coming up, this is son Dan. Father and son have a trucking firm out of Silver Lake, Indiana. They have about 20, 25 of these big rigs on the highway. This is the Super Trooper. This, in fact, this rig has been upside down 3 or 4 times in oval track competition.
It's amazing how these things have histories behind. We can write a book on it. We need to do a home video about trucks. Here we go. Let's see what the kid's going to do. Daddy put it on the other end. Junior's going after it. A little bit of wheel hop right there at about the 75-foot mark. He's got the ground speed, but he's not making a horsepower. You notice the smoke is not as black as it was on his father's run, Gary.
This is the 1980 Kenworth, and he is going to come up a bit short. Well, the distance for that pull, a 2:89.40. So for Dan, his day is over as a competitive driver. He'll become a crew member now for his dad. We'll come back with more pulling from Naples, Florida. Stay with us.